What is going on, All Terrain Nation? Whether it be two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, or all these friends and family we get to interview and talk about the drives. This is your All Terrain Nation, and I am your host, David Boyd, alongside Miss Kelly Boyd. And tonight, Kelly, we have a friend. I will say we've known almost a year now. We've known Teia almost about a year.
Yeah.
She's been super helpful, kind of helping us navigate the world of auto journalism, as it were, with the Texas Auto Writers Association, and we've been wanting to talk to her for a while. I mentioned this. What was it, last spring or this past spring? I was like, Teia, we got to get you on the show, and she was like, well, when? And then just life happens.
Yeah.
But let's bring in Miss Teia. What is going on, girl?
Nothing. Hanging out in my tiny house. How y'all?
Doing good, man.
Welcome in.
Doing good, but so I wanted to introduce you to our friends that are in our live streams here, and kind of tell them a little bit about you and introduce them to your YouTube channel, because you've just kicked in your YouTube channel.
Before you do, I have to say, it's so funny to watch. For those that don't know, like the way that our studio is now set up, we can actually see our guests, like their faces and everything as the intros are coming. And like Mitchell was dancing last night and Teia was dancing last night to the intro music. So right. You all are missing it, but we're doing something right.
Hopefully,
then, I guess
you're doing a lot right. Just saying. Okay.
Hopefully. But so Miss Teia, we want to get into your background a little bit, because we know you from the auto world, but you do more than just the auto world. You're kind of all over the map. But first off, tell us a little bit about what is your background. Because I don't think we've ever got to ask you these.
She and I talked about it a little bit when we were in Dallas, but I'm excited to hear the story again.
So I went to college back in the day to be a spy. That's what I wanted to be.
Really?
But,
I didn't hear this story.
Well, you're not hiding very well.
No. Because everybody's a friend I just haven't met yet. So that kind of hinders my whole spy stuff.
Yeah.
And so at that point, I was in Wichita Falls, Texas, and I was cheerleading. Okay. That's all I wanted to do with my life. That was it. I was going to be a cheerleader until the day I died, which I was like, this is what we do. Okay. And I had an advisor. Yes, very much so. I am the oldest of 5. My dad was an athletic director all my life. So I went from football town to football town to football town to football town. My mom is a chemist. And so she taught the various sciences wherever we went. So I went from running around on the side of the football field to periodic tables as a placemat. So that's like my growing up. But there's 5 of us. And so we run like this and we're everywhere. Right. I started blogging back. Sonora is 16. God, it's been, good Lord, it's been a long time. 2006.
Well, I didn't mean to bring you on the show to start bringing out how long you've been doing this.
And I started that because I was working on the Hill at the time, and I had a newborn, and I was buying all this crap that you don't need, right? Like, if you don't jog, you don't need a jogging stroller. And so I would write about these experiences I would have. That was my first website, Capital Moms. And then I met all kinds of people that I fell in love with through that. As a result of that, I started a concierge service. People were like, can I just buy that? And I was like, I can help you buy it. And
nice.
Can help you buy it. And so I taught high school for a little while. I needed to come back. I taught history and Spanish. I taught in DC. I wrote grants. Basically, whatever door opens, I walk through it. That's kind of how it is. If there's an open door.
I imagine you cheered through it.
And I think everybody should cheer with themselves and me. Okay. Because I figure if it's not fun, why are we doing it?
Right.
You know, I mean, the rest of life is heavy. I mean, we don't gotta, what we're doing now is not heavy, but we are having fun. I came to Tawa back. Oh gosh, Noah was a baby. And I went to my first auto show. I had been writing a city editor in Dallas for a charity lifestyle magazine. And I had roped these 12 women in to covering charity events all over Dallas. And then Toyota was one of those events. And eventually they said, do you want to write about a car? And I was like say more about a car. We say, what are we saying about said car? Obviously, I didn't do it right? But they didn't tell me I didn't do it right. They just said, maybe next time you'll do blah, 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 blah. And it started a process. I met Scotty Reese and I met Kristen and Scott Tilley. And literally, whenever I'd go to a show, I'd bring other people. I'd be like, hey, friend, I saw you walking over there. And you know what? You were really nice. Those people, why don't you come over? This will be fun. And literally, I am the connector. That's my job. You should come to the party. If you got talent, if you got drive, if you're good people, you know, you're not doing weird, creepy stuff. Because there's some people who do weird, creepy crap. And you're like, stop that. Stop that.
Right.
If you're not doing any of that, then I'm like, come on, friend, come on. Then last year, I got elected president of Ottawa. I bought, which has been amazing. We'll talk about that more. Yeah, got elected to the school board. Also awesome. Come everywhere. Basically, I figure, you know what? We spread a little love. We make it fun and make a bigger table. Like literally make a bigger table. That's that's what I do. So got a way to do it. Come on.
Well, following your Instagram, like you're all over the map with what you do. I see cars, and I seen you on the graduation. And I'm like, because I didn't know that part of you, and I was like, what is going on
it's
now?
The school board stuff is what I'm
That's
assuming.
School board. So my baby is, I have 3. I have a 16, 14, 8, and my baby was a micro preemie. He's still doing the special needs cycle of life. We needed more support. And you know what? If you want to keep the good stuff in your community and you want more good stuff, then you step up, because otherwise it goes away. Right. And there's no one to fight for it. And if you can see it, then that means you are probably the one to fight for it. And I got armor. I can do that. You know, there's some stuff I can't do. A lot of stuff I can't do. But that I know how to do. I know how to ask. I know how to say, hey, you know what? These kids are badass. Okay. Like, if you met the kids that I've met, you would be like, yes, the future is not doomed. Okay. That's what you'd be like. But so often you hear, oh, teenagers suck. Or you hear the other part. You don't get to hear the good stuff.
Right.
And God, there's so much good stuff. So much good stuff. So like that was my first set of graduations, and I got to wear my colors from my college. And I was that student who, it was awesome. It was awesome. I had my thing on wrong first, and the guy from Johnson was like, love, let me help you out. Like, your arm doesn't go through that part. I was like, it was amazing. It was amazing because I'm from here. I say I'm from here. I went to high school here. I left for a bunch of years because I thought I needed to be somewhere else to get what I wanted to have. And basically, I want everything. I don't know how else to say it. Everything. I want, when somebody comes to this community, they'd be like, that's where I'm from. Those are my people. We got everything. That's what I want. You got to build it. You got to build it. And you can't build it by leaving. You build it by staying and then travel, fill it up, and then come on back. So
you sound like the perfect ambassador for the car industry, basically, right there. Because anything you ever see on the internet about cars and stuff is just nothing but negativity. There's no positive. It's the negative crowd seems to win out on that. So you are the perfect driving force for this.
I love that. Do you just not want to throw your shoe with him and be like, look, friend, just pick up your garden clock and be like, look, soldier, like, what are you talking about? Okay, obviously you're going to buy that car that you're talking bad about.
Right.
You're already going to buy it. So why not have fun with it and meet other people who love it like you do? Right. Go mod it out and have fun with it and be like, I tried that didn't work. And then
well, being from Texas, cars and trucks are big, like especially trucks. I remember I was turning in a lease one time with a Ford lease I had, and I said, "What are y'all going to do with this?" They're like, "It'll probably go to Texas." And I was like, really? He's like, yes, any used vehicle. They love like any truck they can get down in Texas.
That was BK. That was before
Oh,
Kelly.
yeah. Oh, yeah. That was
way before.
That was 97.
That's awesome.
We're not talking.
Still in high school.
See, I graduated in 98. So
I graduated in 2000, so I wasn't far behind you.
93. So call me grandpa over here.
I went to high school. Like Townies Ford is the dealership that's literally next door to my school. And so I would sit in history class and watch the Mustangs get loaded off of freight, right? And they looked like Skittles to me, right? I was just like, oh, hi, car, hi, pretty. And I'd be sitting in class watching them load them off freight. Mm-hmm. And almost always in history class, they would load them off. And Dr. Frith would be like, Teia, focus on what we're doing. So I would speed through my work. And I would cite more sources than he asked for so that I could sit and watch the cars. After a minute and after I got my A, because I wasn't going to mess up my grade. I mean, let's be real.
Right.
I'm not going to mess up my A. Are you kidding?
No, I was completely opposite. I was going to do everything in my power to mess up my grades and just get by. And then getting by now, I teach my kids completely opposite.
And then he married me.
Yes, don't get by.
He won the biggest award of all and married me. And,
of course.
always
move up. Always move up.
I love y'all. Always level up. Yeah.
But so what, obviously you were asked to write about cars. Was Tawa a thing at that time? I mean, I guess it's been since the 80s or so, right?
It was, but I didn't know about it. I came from the influencer space. Since I had blogs, sold them, built them up, sold them, had another blog, built it up, sold them. So, most automotive where you get things like loans and things come through a different arm than I had met. And so when they reached out to me, I was like, is this a real job? Not sure it's real, but I mean, fine. If we're going to do this, fine, but I'm not sure it's real. I don't think I'll forget when Kristen and Scott came to talk to me. Because by that point, I had already been to multiple auto shows. And I took myself. You know how you fill out the media request, filled it out. And I had been told no so many times.
Really? Because I see a lot of bloggers at these shows.
But not at that stage of my life.
Okay.
I was what did they call it? Unknown quantity. And I was like, whatever, friend.
Another fancy word for them to say.
I was called a super fan. I was called a super fan by Nissan one time.
Super fan.
I was like, excuse me? I pay to go to things. I don't think we're on the wrong term.
I was like, fine, I'll just buy my own ticket and do my hotel and just go.
Yeah.
And so I did that and I started to write about it. And then I started with my first blog, which Dallas blogs Pink Book of Goodness. Okay. My college bestie. So she cheered with me. She went on to work with a PR firm. I left to go to the Hill and left for a bunch of years, came back. We were taking shots and she was like, it's your pink book. I have a pink book that I carry in my purse. Let's just preface all this by that. I write down notes. I write down names. I write down ideas. I write down all the stuff, the wine that's good, the place that cooks your steak right, that actually seasons it.
Mine's a purple book.
I'm just saying. And I lived by that book. And so she goes, you should digitize your Pink Book of Goodness, is what I did. But then people were confused by it. And that's how I ended up deciding to buy the other blog, because people didn't understand it. I got it, but other people didn't. But the Pink Book started a concierge service. And so I started connecting people with cars. I would meet them at these different charity events that we were going on, because I had to do the research to be able to write the article, because it was a field I didn't know. Remember when they told me I wrote about that article wrong? And wrote about it was actually the RAV4. They told me I wrote about it like a couch. Let's say all that. Same way you would talk about a luxury couch, because I was also a managing editor for a luxury interiors magazine. So why not talk about it like a couch? Didn't know about it. I started talking about it like that. I had to research because I didn't know what I didn't know. And people on social are great to tell you what you don't know. But they do not tell you
how to get where you know it.
Yeah. I was like, dude, sup, you're going to cuss me out with nice, nasty words, but you're not going to tell me how to fix it. You know?
Right.
I was like, how do you learn if you don't know? So
yeah, because there's certain things if you've not grown up, with some sort of automotive rider or something in your background, like how you don't know what to key, but it makes it kind of interesting because you might key on something that the common person that doesn't want to hear the automotive rider talk about it, you may key on features that appeal to that audience.
That's how I got acquainted with Ford. We met at a different event that I was at. I was doing some freelance work. I had a King Ranch for loan, and my Noah, my baby, was in a real car seat at that time. I had left him with my sister, but when I rolled up to the event, I needed to clean out the truck before I showed it to other people because life. Yeah. Underneath that seat were crunched up Cheerios, right? When I moved the car seat, I was like, oh God. And so I whipped the baby wipes out the console and was doing this, where they kick their feet and they put their feet and their feet prints on the back seat. I was wiping crap down, right? So one of the ranchers that was at the event came out to watch me do this because I'm standing out there with this really pretty truck and it was red and the sunlight was glinting off of it. And it was kind of like, ta-da. But I was feverishly wiping stuff off. He goes, that baby wipe's going to mess up that seat. I was like, it's not. He's like, it is. And I was like, it's not. And this was the debate we had. He goes, show me. So I did it again. When I moved the other side of the seat, there was Cheetos, like yellow crap that's on the outside of Cheetos. Yeah, it was crunched down on there, crunched. And I was like, so got the baby wipe, another one, and wiped it off. And he stood there and watched that water from the baby wipe dry. And I looked at him like he had spawned horns because that's the way I was feeling. And he goes, I need some of those. And I was like, some? What do you mean some? He goes, a fleet. I go, well, how many is a fleet? He goes, like 12. And I was like, of this truck? You realize how much it costs, right? He's like, yeah. Do you think they can put my logo on the side? And I was like, I mean, yeah, I'm sure, but So I called my contact and I said, hey, he wants to buy a bunch of these. And he goes, he thought he was being pranked. And he goes, what are you talking about? And I was like, he said he wants to buy a bunch of these. He goes, I do want to buy a bunch. He's talking over my shoulder. Country like that. If you see my latest video on YouTube, that's my real life. I got my boots and jeans because I was outside in the wilderness and I can't be messing around with like dirt and stuff. And he bought them like that. They called I called my contact. He connected me with the dealer. Dealer said, oh, we can get those for him. Does he want them delivered there? Or is he going to come pick them up? And I was like, I don't know. Let me ask him. He laughed. That laugh that crazy villains do? Because he thought he was being pranked too. And he said, do you want them delivered to your house? And he said, yes, please. Well, they can deliver them to my ranch. That's what he said. And I was like, I got to make that kind of change to where I can buy 12 King Ranches like that. Not making it yet. It's coming. But it showed me what automotive does. I didn't talk about the car, about its horsepower, anything like that. After we got the Cheetos off the leather, which did not stain. Thank you very much. We sprayed crap out the back of the truck bed, where I had loaded a trencher in the back because my backyard had been flooding because life. And I figured I had a truck, so I can go to Home Depot and get one. And we sprayed that off. It was life stuff, I showed how you could lift the seat up, how they didn't hide the car seat anchors, how you could put that thing in with one arm, how you could plug your phone in with one plug and instantly it works. No pressing buttons, no doing anything crazy. It just does what you expect it to do.
Right. And
it showed me the power of just go ahead and being you, that I don't have to do it like
everybody else.
The tradition. Yeah, like everybody else, or like the guys who've been doing it for years, which I still hear. I've been doing this now for almost 10 years. And I literally at the last auto show I was at, was confronted by a guy who's like, "You're not a real journalist."
We've gotten that.
I said, "Am I not? Can you define journalist for me?" He's like, "Oh, they just like you because, I don't know, you're kind of nice, but maybe not." And I was thinking, going, you obviously need a shot of something. I mean, obviously more than what you.
I wonder if it's the same guy that won't speak to us at any events we go to.
Yeah, we have a particular guy that
once he finds out we're YouTube, he's like, nope, he's out.
And he decides you're not real, or you're not.
Yeah, and won't have a conversation with you anymore after that. Once he realizes, he will walk away.
Or do my favorite one is when you're all seated at the same table, pick up and move to another one.
Oh yeah, that's happened too. Yep.
I was like, where is your home training? Okay.
Oh no, there's one at the Tawa events, and I won't name any names, but you're just, we come around, it's like, oh, they're YouTubers.
I think
like,
I know who you're talking about. And we'll just
yeah.
In the words of my sister, adjust your ponytail.
Yep.
But so where are you at with that? Because print is dying now. Blogs and stuff, I understand the purpose of those, but as far as like print media, I see it every day. I'm in a bunch of journalists Facebook groups and stuff, and they're all like changing jobs every week because this week this publication's dying, so they're just all moving to the next one, which that next week is dying. So where are you at with this? What do you think the future of auto journalism is going to be like?
I think there will be a place for print media, but do you know how luxury design magazines got really expensive? And they're like, you go to Barnes & Noble and they're like $18 a magazine. But they're for a very specific audience. And then notice those same magazines make video content. They have blogs, they have short form media, which might as well be the crib notes of the article that got written. I think the media is changing. People get their news off Facebook and Twitter and other places like that, and their neighbor or next door, they get their news off that way. Automotive will follow because it'll have to follow where people are. It has no choice but to be where people are.
Well, I did podcasting for 5 years about cars and trucks, and
before podcasting was kind of a thing.
It was just starting to boom a little bit. But
I was like, what is a podcast?
But the problem was with automotive is I found cars are visual. People want to see things. They want to, almost touch them if they can. They want that experience. And I found, like, just talking, people in their treadmill listening to me or whatever they were doing, like I could build a small audience, but it was never growing like YouTube and some of the newer ways to communicate are doing.
But think about the way we communicate. We get our first touch point through an image and a small snippet of words. But then when you actually want something, you dig deeper. Yeah. And you start looking for authority places and things like that. I think that's where like an encyclopedia or a library, that's where I think print will go, because it'll become the authority, because it'll have to have solid legs under it. For people to be able to trust it, because anybody can say anything on the internet. I was just talking to my 16-year-old, and she was like, "Mom," and she's a little budding actress working on a play, and she's like, "Mom, how do I know if it's real news?" And like, at first I was gonna say because it's credible, but then I thought about it. Wait, that's not a good answer for her, because she's gonna take that information I say and then go and run with it.
Yes.
Credible. Okay, so what does that mean? It means they fact check. That means they're not telling any lies. Or if they are telling lies, they show what their biases are.
Yeah.
What is that? And I said, Sonora, you got to figure out what they're trying to sell you and how they win. If you can figure out how they win, then you know where their biases are, and then you can know whether you can trust the content. And she was like, "Oh, okay, that's fine." And then she left. But then, like, I'm writing an article tonight on a car that did not change from 21 to 22, but there is a 22 model year. Okay. And I was like, that's kind of cheating a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. You should just call that sucker a 21 and call it good. But instead it's a 22, but in my mind, I'm thinking, I actually liked the car. The car in and of itself, I liked, but the naming thing told me that, okay, you are willing to deceive. You're willing to. It's a collateral damage thing. It's a cost thing. You're willing to do it. But I loved the car. The car was great in and of itself as a machine of itself. And so as a journalist, what do? Do you give it a negative review because of what the practice behind it was? Or do you just give it a pass because the last 3 years have been hell on earth for people?
Right.
Well, and speaking of passes, with the whole pandemic and everything, as far as, it didn't affect us because I launched this channel right when the pandemic kicks in. I'm like, the worst time for this, because I had a very Nissan specific audience for a long time. And that's kind of what I covered, was just that brand. Because we're in Middle Tennessee, they're headquartered here. It was real easy.
Be in y'all's neck of the woods, middle of next month.
Oh, girl, I owe you some bourbon anyways because of
you know what's going to happen? Pictures. It's going to be when I'm at Bronco Off Rodeo.
Yeah, Kelly will be in Austin next month.
When are you going to be here?
Middle 20s of July. After I'll leave on the 22nd to come up. Are you coming here?
Yes, I'm going to Austin. I'm going to Austin for Bronco Off Rodeo. I leave on the 20th and I'll be back the evening of the 23rd.
Oh, I'll still be in Tennessee.
Oh, okay.
I'm not coming back till the end of the month.
Oh, okay, cool. Then we need to get together.
But
sorry,
but yes,
sorry, side folks.
So yeah, we'll work on this. But so I found, like, with this, Tim Esterthal he's been a big influence for me. Like, hey, here's the path you take, because I knew with Nissan, I kind of knew, okay, I know most of the people there, so there was no learning curve to figure out to get information. And then, like, I was, okay, you just do car shows? Like, what? There's no auto journalist for dummies book that you just open up and go, well, here's the path.
Yeah.
So yeah, during the pandemic, but it inspired, like, these live shows that we do, because it was a way to communicate with friends and fellow journalists, and your audience can respond to you that way. Sure, we couldn't for a long time go cover things, or the manufacturers seemed like they only let like a handful of people at a time do it because of protocols and stuff, which
it
was fine. But I think for us, I think it's going to benefit us that we didn't get to just jump right in and have the full experience right away, that we've kind of had to earn it a little bit more than we had hoped. But
don't you love that though? Because you've like literally have cut your eye teeth on work.
Mm-hmm.
You know how to work. One thing I've noticed from this step of the stage of where I'm at now is, if you know how to work, if you know how to hustle, if you know how to take a no and still keep doing your thing, you're going to be fine. You're going to be better than fine, because there were people who will just bow out because it got tough.
I'll be honest. That's why we're a good partnership here, because I don't like no's. I don't like them at all. And it's funny because in my day job, I had a meeting with somebody, and she talked about like her evolution of her job within our company. And she was like, the when it turned around for me was when I said NO equals NOW more. Like, no means they need to know more. So it's not no, everything's done, there's absolutely no way we're doing this. It means I need to know more of what's happening, or why you think that this is the resolution, or why you need this, or why you did this. And I was like, dang, like that is
light bulb.
That's it right there. Yeah.
Well, and for anybody listening to this, that trust me, there's a lot of no's. I reach out daily to manufacturers trying to get anything, and I've got a couple now that'll deal with us. But as far as there's a few,
have you heard the same thing? Your audience is not my audience. I've heard that. And
well, I heard my audience is, they're like, well, we only
too pigeonholed.
We only give auto press loans to people like Dude in Blue, and I don't know if you know who that is. Dude's got like 2 or 3 million subs on YouTube here. He's out of Atlanta, Georgia. He really does tuner stuff. He doesn't really do a lot of new stuff. And when I heard that, it was kind of a kick in the balls, because I was like, I'm here to basically promote your vehicle.
We're promoting your vehicle for free.
Basically.
All you have to do is drop it off in my driveway.
Yeah, and but that honestly lit a fire under my ass about, okay, I'll eventually win you over. But I know what it is.
Exactly.
Definitely in this industry,
for me,
there's benchmarks you have to hit. I definitely in this industry, and we're paying our dues on that about right now. But
you do pay your dues, but do you know what I've learned about paying dues is you earn that respect.
Right.
And I didn't even realize it until now. Like, you earn the respect, because there will be people who will literally come up to you and be like, "Aren't you a pretty little girl?" And I was like, "Hold up, soldier. Like, we don't know each other." And I'll say, you probably heard it, because you probably heard it at the other event. I said, "We don't know each other yet. Let's get acquainted. Let's get acquainted."
You did at our first Tawa event last fall. You came right to us and introduced, like, you made us feel right at home.
Because
it was nice. No, but it was nice that because I've been to some things without Kelly and I'm very
nobody knows this, but he's totally like antisocial when
I'm
it gets
very
a
introverted
new situation.
If I'm not comfortable, God, yes. If I'm not comfortable in the situation, I'll be in the corner just kind of watching, scoping out, seeing what's going on. And but I will say this: you get on a mic, and I was a musician for a long time, so that helped too. But you get in front of a mic, and it helps you open up. You learn, okay, I have to kind of perform. And we won Nissan over like crazy. Me and my old partner Danny. We did a press event in 20 for the Titan was being relaunched, the refresh of it, and they did it in Salt Lake City. It was amazing. That it was at this
a hotel
beautiful,
we'll never ever be able to afford.
Oh yeah, this beautiful resort. They're like, oh yeah, Martha Stewart and all them for the film festival. This is where they stay. And I'm like, I out of curiosity, I look it up my room, and it was like $750 a night or something. And
I also looked up his room.
A decent room, but then they give my buddy a
3-bedroom,
like 2,500 square foot,
$1,300 a night.
Yeah, and I was like, well, I did something wrong here.
No, but it's like, oh my! I discovered there is an extreme privilege in this. Mm-hmm. But do you know what I've also learned is that, so I went to we have a school opening, and one of the kids there, because she goes, "Do you know that I didn't know what you do as a real job?" And I said, "Okay, so what do you in teenagers, you got to like armor up in advance, because they might say something like dig and twist, and you're like," she goes, "I didn't know what you do as a real job. So, I was coming to research you." And I was like, I said, "What did you find when you researched me?" She said, "You can do lots of things and be okay." I was like, "You can." I go, "Have you heard the Daniel Tiger song, You Can Be More Than One Thing?" She said, "My brother likes that." I said, "My youngest watches Daniel Tiger on repeat. And it's the song, You Can Be More Than One Thing." And you get to have that, I'm thinking the new generation of media, as more and more people own their stuff. Sorry, I cuss. I caught myself.
You can cuss.
No, you're fine here.
Hello, it's happy hour.
Here's from here. As more and more people own their own stuff, you'll run into this where people are wanting to give you the bare minimum, but then if you were the head of the magazine or the head of whatever, they would give you this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You'd be like, they'll be like, "Who do you write for?" You'd be like, "Me, my people." Like, "What do you mean? What do you mean?" And you stop feeling that moment of, I don't belong here, or why am I here, or why am I fighting this effing fight again? You stop feeling that, because you figure out that they don't even know. Why do I think cars are dying in SUV? Oh, easy. The way modern families are shaping. You want to be able to do everything with your vehicle. You don't have to choose. You don't have to go home. Like, I've got a Jeep Compass, a GMC Sierra, and a very baby Mercedes little convertible that cannot fit my kids. You don't want to have to choose between vehicles. You just want to be able to get in your car and go.
Well, think about it. Our phone. So it's not a phone anymore at all. It does everything.
Mm-hmm.
I can get food with this. I can, look up information. Like, yeah, you need something. It's a Swiss Army knife. We need to drive a Swiss Army knife.
I feel like it's my third arm.
It is. Yeah. This day and age, it has to be. And, our viewers know we're very involved in our softball league, our kids softball league next door. And so I'm a board member. And so I had my time that I had to be at the ball field tonight. And like, I was thinking, oh, maybe I'll take my laptop during my time. And I was like, why do I need to take my laptop? I just take my phone. I can do everything I need to do on my phone. There's very minimal things I have to do on a laptop, which is like maybe some spreadsheets or things like that. But most of it I can do on my phone now.
You can do on your phone. Yeah. And it's the same thing. I think that like, that's what cars. So I do an internship for Audi, and we connect them with Next Gen to help create the next generation of automotive journalists, to build more diversity in the field. You know, I can't get my hot hands out of stuff. And
you sound like us. We're always like trying to lead the way.
We see something and we go, we have to be a part of that.
You know what it is? I want to create a world that's ready for my kids.
Sure.
My kids are badasses, and they are spectacular. They can be on both ends of that spectrum of fantastic badass or holy crap, what are you doing? They can be both sides, right? So I need to help do my part to create a world that's ready for them. Because I don't know if yours are like mine. They don't believe in either or. They believe in and that door is not closed to me. That means that maybe I need to create a brand new door. That's what they believe. And they do it on the regular, and they do it with ease. There's no stress about it. They're just like, oh, here we go. And then they do it. I got to do my part to lay the groundwork and the framework so that the world is ready for them. And that means that I got to lace up and keep going. So that's what I do. But yeah, no. Like, what are you doing, friend? What are you doing? And it's going to be awesome. I cannot wait to see what comes next. Oh, but back to Audi. Okay, so there was this vehicle, right? So you sit in the back seat, and instead of engaging with the vehicle, so you know how most rear entertainment centers, this little screen that's like this, which, let's make no mistake, I went to Walmart and bought a $5 DVD so I could fit it in the car so that my son could watch it, because he was driving me literally up a creek. And so I was like, hey, you want to do it? We're going to drive around and watch and listen to Daniel Tiger. Okay. He watched his video. I drove around. It was great. I'm not above it. We still do it. Bought it, put it in there. Instead of that sucker synced up to Prime. He could pick his movie that he likes out of his profile on Prime, and it did surround around the back. The sound came out of the seats by his head. No headphones. Yeah. No looking for the place to plug the headphone in. No adjusting the volume. You just say, please decrease the volume. I said, holy shit. Next is now. Okay. And instead of that, and then you discuss your creature comforts. You know, you want your seat a little bit higher up. You want your seat a little bit back. This seat needs to be colder. It's designed to be a part of your life instead of something extra. You know, something extra on the side. Have y'all had many EVs yet?
No, the one in Fort
Worth.
At
Tawa.
Yeah, we the one we drove, the
Kia.
EV6 whatever GT inline.
Well, yeah. More is coming. I'm putting my hot little hands to work on it, and that's what we're doing. But not just my hot hands. Everybody else I can rope into it. We're working it on too. Okay, nice. So notice I'm in my tiny house. If I tilt my camera up from here to like down here is all ready, but the top still needs work. Because we're working on it, because it's life and it costs money, and I got to make the money to do it. It's what it is. I plug EVs up to this tiny house, so I roll them up in the grass because I'm country like that, and I run the cord from the house, the tiny house, to the car, because from my garage to the car, my garage is converted. It's too far. The cords don't reach.
Right.
Okay, and so it's rigged up, and I refuse to be that human who was running an orange extension cord.
We're that human.
who's running it, okay? And and I thought about it, and I was like, my neighbors are going to judge me, okay? Because they already thought I was a drug dealer, right?
Because of all the cars in your driveway?
No, in the front, because they come to the front, and they wait for me to come out. So my neighbor across the street, she's like, Teia, those men are in front of your house again. And I could see her move her curtain over like this. And I have to admit, like most of the delivery drivers are stunning. Okay. They are breathtaking when you look at them. And I was like, damn, Skippy. Yes. And so she moves the curtain over. She's like, those banner in front of your house again. Are you sure you're not doing something nefarious? You know,
you're not just a drug dealer. You're like the madam too, because you're bringing all these beautiful men.
And I'm seducing them from the front porch. Okay.
Wait till the neighbor asks you. So what's the cost of some special time?
I'm seducing them in my boots and jeans, okay, and a ponytail on top of my head.
That's
okay?
really why you're building a tiny house in the backyard. Just saying.
Oh, tiny house came because of COVID, right? So do you know what happens when you, your parents, and your kids are all in one house?
Nope, thankfully.
There are rooms enough for all of us. But do you know what happens in COVID? You are literally in each other's armpit.
Yep.
And to where you start to be like, I love you, but if you ask me one more time where the milk is, I'm probably going to lose it. Why can't you go to the refrigerator? Or my other one, have you seen my charger? Okay. Have you seen my charger? And then here's it. And I can see the charger.
Yep.
But then I'm like, I am not answering.
Those are mom superpowers though. Because as a guy,
he never sees the charger.
It could be right in front of me and I don't know where. I don't know why.
True story. I was finishing up work today and he comes in and he goes, babe, have you seen my drill? And I said, I used it to replace the dog door this weekend. It is on the kitchen counter. Where on the kitchen counter? On the kitchen counter.
I'm staring at it.
Where is it on the kitchen counter? And I said, it's on the kitchen counter. He said, on the center kitchen counter. And I said, yes, on the kitchen counter. Well, where? Next to your plant on the kitchen counter. Next to my plant on the kitchen counter?
Like the second question, you thought he should have seen it, right? Because there's my eyebrows doing this.
No.
And I was totally doing that from the bedroom because going like, if I could stare
to
you where that
I
is,
now
I
know
totally would.
From my middle son that me and my eyebrows and my eyes pointing mean nothing. Okay. Means zero. He probably, most of the time he thinks I have something in my eye. And I'm like, he goes, Mom, do you need your eye drops? And I'm like,
oh, he's so sweet. He thinks you need the eye drops. He's not realizing that he needs to be over there.
You cannot be mad because you're like, no. I don't
End of story, though. I did find the drill. It was by the plant.
You know where it was? By the plant after the sixth time of me telling him it was on the kitchen counter.
By that point, I'm just like, here you go. Here's the thing you were looking for.
I know. I about got up and walked over there. It was
I do because after a while, you're just like, dude, sup. It's whatever.
Yeah.
You're just like, it's like whatever.
And I know the ladies in the chat are feeling me. I know they get it.
They get it. You get it. And so it's funny because I hear my bigs having that kind of conversation because before we came out here, so I cooked, right? I said, guys, I'm doing a podcast thing. And they go, are you on video or are you talking? And I said, video. She goes, well, it's not a podcast. And I was like,
sounds like our daughter.
I was like, is it not a podcast? And she goes, no, if there's video, it's not a podcast. It's video. And I was like, okay, whatever. I said, either way, what this boils down to is I'm cooking now. And then the kitchen needs to be clean before I get back in the house. Is what I said. So they know like my time frame, right? Like I go here. So if I have meetings or if I have stuff to do, I'm in here. If they have class, they need to work on, they need to get away from the rest of the house. You come here. It's become sanctuary.
Nice.
It's best purchase ever. And so they were cleaning. I said, y'all got to clean the kitchen up. And that clean the kitchen up means wash the dishes, wipe the counter down, sweep the floor, wipe the fridge off, and put all of it up. Okay.
You shouldn't have to give all of those 6-7 steps, but you do have to.
Well, because
at least in our house,
discovered that clean the kitchen up equals wash the dishes. And then I'm mad. I'm like, dude, what is this sticky on the floor? You know, and that's the kind of stuff because you're like, you're walking, and you're just living your best life. And I turn Alexa on. And so we'll figure it out. So Noah, by the way, tried to order a car off Alexa just so we're both clear. Okay. Just so we're all clear on how this went down. So back up. Albertsons has all the Hot Wheels cars the entire big collection of Hot Wheels cars on sale 10 for $10. Okay. My youngest collects these cars. Our fleet managers bring said cars with them for my youngest.
How
he
cute.
loves it. They love him. And it's this whole thing. They have been with us through life, where we've been in vehicles and he's had an asthma attack and you know, the nebulizer's turning on in the back and it's triggering the sensors in the car. Had that with press car. You know, various different things have happened to us. You know, flat tires. There was the one where the guy in the Silverado backed into us with a Tiguan. You know,
oh wow,
Tiguan was fine. Just saying. Okay, Tiguan did fine. Front and back of the side of the Silverado. Front was dented in like this, but the back, since the way they hit us, spun and clipped the side of the car, damaged that one too. Inside, all of us were fine. And I have never been so thankful for a Zoom session before I got into a car, because Volkswagen did a Zoom session with me first and talked about their new inner cage. Right. And they were real excited about it. But I was like, dude, they just keep talking about this. Is what I was thinking during the Zoom session. And you know, Zoom puts you to sleep. Right. People start talking on Zoom and you're like this. And you know, I'm trying to keep my head up. But then my head
look interested.
And you're doing this. And you're doing all this stuff with your face. Okay. What that thing that they talked to us about did was disperse the impact around the vehicle. My son, who at that point was on his oxygen tube, felt nothing other than a little tap and the sound of crunchy metal, which is terrifying enough. But it didn't do anything to us inside the cabin. And I was like, okay. I checked on my people because it pushed us through an intersection. And we were right in front of the police station here in Mesquite. It literally pushed us all the way up to the edge of the police station. And I had already been trying to keep it together, but my daughter was crying. My middle son was checking on my younger son. And Noah said, "That's not very nice, Mommy. It's not." And I said, "No, it's not."
Because now I got to fill out paperwork.
Right.
I got to fill out a lot of paperwork. I actually didn't have to fill out a ton. But they came for us and to check on us. And it wasn't about the car. It was about us.
Yeah,
and
that's nice.
It was gracious. I was gracious. I was expecting that to be the end of my automotive career, even though it wasn't my fault, but still.
Every time I'm in a press car here, I'm looking around like, keep away from me, people. Keep away from me.
I have had more random occurrences happen to me in press cars, and now I start to turn them into my stories because I was like, this wouldn't happen any other time. Okay. Yeah. Never. I remember when I first got the Mach-E, right? And we were doing a campaign with it. I had people pull over and pull up, roll up close to us and go, "Roll your window down. Roll it down." I was like, no. Not doing that. Meet you at the next light. Roll it down. I was like, creak it this little. Yes. Is that a Mustang? Yes. It doesn't look like a Mustang. Still a Mustang. Still a Mustang. You know? And I'm sitting there like this. Noah's like, "Mommy, roll the window up." And I was like,
following the guide right here.
Rolling it up. I mean, but random stuff. Or we took Titan over to Home Depot. Never want to know how people feel about a truck. Take it up to Home Depot when it's time to rent supplies. Okay. Everybody's standing out there waiting. And if it's something they've never seen before, which is usually what we've got, you've got commentary. You've got people who want to touch it, people who might want to touch you. And you're like, "Look, I'm not for that's not how
this isn't for sale. This isn't how this works.
I don't have a manufacturer plate. Sorry."
And then there's those other people who want to discuss it and they are curious and they're fascinated and they want to know how it's different than the one they've got. Those are the people that I love because they teach me so much about the history that I had no concept about, you know, and I'm like, oh, okay. So this is why they kept the shape. This is why when they did this refresh for like the 5th time, it looks like this, because people like him or people like her. This is why. I get it. It makes sense to me. I had the Challenger this week, and
I saw that. I'm very jealous because not just any Challenger. Which one did you have? I glanced at the
Challenger SRT.
Oh,
Hellcat wide body.
I thought it was the Hellcat.
Was it the same? Was it the same one that was at the event? Nice.
You drove it at the event.
But she wanted to. She needed a week long with it. Is what she needed.
I needed more time with it, and this one was the black label. So
nice.
Inside is all blacked out with Napa leather and this beautiful buttery suede that is way better than my purse I paid $1,000 for. And I was like, I got gypped. Okay, it's got that leather that you're like, kids don't eat in this car.
Right. You don't even get to breathe in this car. Like, don't even.
Oh my gosh. We drove just for the hell of it.
Yeah.
Just to drive. Tested out all the modes. It has space for booster seats in the back, which is awesome. Because I have been that human, you know, those baby seats that are in the back of the Mustang. I have squeezed my kids in the back of that. You know, they say it's 4, it's really 2. That back seat's for your purse and your dog, not for kids.
It's like the we were on a Toyota run when we did Tawa. What was the one that was 4 belts, but it was really 2 seats?
Oh, the LC500.
The LC500.
Pretty leather too. More for me, not for
it's we. Gorgeous.
And that's my new term for it. Me, not we. That's what that's for.
No, that's perfect for that car.
And so we drove around. It's wonderful.
So I'm curious for you, Teia, because, you know, we've talked about this a little bit on other stuff, and guys, bear with me. I just have to ask this question. So you as a female with auto journalism, it's not common for us women to like vehicles, to want to drive vehicles, to want to talk about vehicles. So when you're driving up to Home Depot with the Titan, how is your reception there? Or is it better because you live in Texas and women drive trucks all the time? So what has that experience been for you in the automotive industry?
So I hear stories from other people where the automotive industry is unwelcoming to them. That's not been my experience. I've had people who have told me no, people who have said, oh, not right now. And some that have outright ignored me. I'm very much of the mindset, if you don't want to spend time with me, I don't want to spend time with you.
Well, it sounds like GM. Because I can't get anything out of GM, man. Not even a return email.
So if I am very much of that mindset, my mindset is very much, you will eventually want to come to the party.
You'll realize you want to be there.
You will eventually want to come to the party because our party's good. It's good stuff. You're going to want to be here. So if you're not now, that's fine. I gave you an invitation. You turned it down, maybe rudely. But then Home Depot's different. Home Depot's different than automotive journalism. Home Depot is, you've got people who are just living life, you know? They aren't trying to prove a point. They aren't trying to be the biggest D on the Twitter, which I meet them. Okay. Those are the ones that come for me on those spaces. And I'm like, look, if you actually want someone to enjoy that D, you should stop acting like that. That's how I feel about that. If you should stop, because it's not nice. Yeah. And eventually it carries over into your writing. So you should stop, because you should just go ahead and be a good human. All a car is a means to get to an end. Where are you going? How are you going to get there? What experience are you going to have while you're getting there? That's what a car is. So
I also feel like it reflects your personality a little bit too, though.
So maybe right now, like on my website, because it's Dallas Single Mom, which I'm rebranding, which is awesome. I meet people when their world has fallen apart.
Yeah.
Thanks. I meet people when their world has fallen apart. Like quite literally, their world has come. The world they thought they were going to have forever has crumbled and turned into a hell in a handbasket. That's when I meet them. Their money is tied up in attorneys and all kinds of stuff. That's where I meet them. So, you might think, oh, okay, look, I'm going through this. I need to sell a car so I can make some money so that I can pay our bills for the next couple of months. Because I've had that conversation before. Oh, that's it. That's the car. And so you might today can only afford an $18,000 car. You might want to get the best used car you can get for $18,000 because that's what you can afford. And I'm never going to tell somebody to pay more than you can afford. Okay.
Right.
Yep.
That crap's stupid. I'm not going to say that because here's the thing. That's not going to work. You do the best you can for right now. And then you go next from there. You go up from there. So you do that and you get that experience. And so you're like, ooh, I love this car. Hey, what? You know what? I got my life together a little bit, taking care of my people, making a little more money. I want something else. Then you go next. But there's no shame in any of it. There's no shame. There is, you're doing what you need to do for your people and for yourself. So you just do the best you can while you can, and then you go on to the next thing. And that's what you do. I love the brands that honor that.
Yeah.
Love it. Stellantis does that, which is why I was so happy to get this car. You can get a Challenger at base model. It looks almost identical to that car that I just had. Okay. They're not saying you're a lesser being. They're not saying you don't deserve safety tag. They're not saying any of that. They're saying you're worthy of the very best you can have. This is your price point. This is what you can have. This is what we can do for you right now. When you're ready to level up, we'll level up with you. That's what Stellantis is great at. So I'm happy to do that. The brands that don't say that, the brands that say, hey, I need to pay extra for safety tech, I'm like, I call bullshit.
Yeah.
I call bullshit.
Well, that's and brands like Nissan as well. They seem to they know their audience. They're not up on a pedestal kind of brand. They just, I think that's where some of the brands get caught up. Toyota seems to slightly sometimes, but Toyota has a reputation that hey, quality, and all this, you're going to pay a little bit more for it, but
this car's going to last forever. This car's going to last longer than you. Okay?
Right. Yeah. Your grandkids are going to get through this car. But no, I like hearing that you've had a great experience with them because Kimberly over there, she's a really, really nice person. She's been very nice to us. But they won't give me a car. We'll see down the road.
Give us some time.
Hey, Dodge. Hey, two thumbs.
You'd be like, hey, friend. Hey.
Well, that brand in general is kind of in a weird spot, though, because those cars are dying. There's nothing like when you hear that car start up, and I remember it being in the garage there at Texas Motor Speedway. If you hear that thing fire up, you're just
sound ever. It's got
pure
this
sex,
throaty
man.
growl, and you're like, damn, Skippy. Yes. And then, but it's even better when you get in it, and you're like, shut up. Yes. Okay. And it's like that. Okay. GV60. Okay. Genesis is new one. They recreated that experience with the boost button in an electric car. That rev, that growl, that power, the feel of the way the seat kind of curls your body, and when it accelerates, that oomph that you get, that's what they did with the boost button. And I was like, whatever. That's because that's my personality. And so I touched it and I was like, oh my goodness. Yeah, it does that. They recreated it, and it for about 30 seconds, maybe 45, it gives this oomph of power, but sound is what I miss in the EVs. Gas cars. So they say we're going all EV in 10 years. Yeah, not here, not where I live.
Not where middle America lives, I can tell you that.
People buy them, and I love them. And my daughter wants one as a 16-year-old new driver. And I'm like this.
Sid wants a Tesla so bad. And she doesn't even know
See,
anything about it.
My Noah has been watching these Tesla videos. Okay, so kid YouTube, I feel like it's a conspiracy against me, right? They just want me to spend a lot of money. That's what they want. And he goes, so when they bring the cars, so let's preface all this by he has definite first world problems. Let's start there. Okay, because he expects you to get a different car every week. He expects it.
Oh,
he expects that they come and they're going to come to the house and they're going to bring,
because that's what his life has been.
Yeah.
Or mommy's going to go to the airport, go work, come back. Because I try to schedule it where I'm only gone for like a day and a half, and then come back. But when she comes back, she's going to come in a different car. But then the guys are going to come pick the car up and swap it out. That's what he expects. He goes, Mom, when are they going to bring the Tesla Model X? So they brought the GV60, right?
Yeah.
And from the side, he thought it was the Tesla.
Oh, he thought his dreams had come true.
So he was so excited, he ran out the front door. And then he looked at it and he said, they pranked me. And I was like, I said, nobody pranked you. And the word is pranked. Nobody pranked you. He said, they did. They made me think it was. I was like, who said it was? Who told you that? He said, Mommy, my mind told me that. And I was like, oh, God.
Bless.
Sometimes your mind will lead you astray, okay? Don't follow it down the train. Okay, don't do that. And so he went and he was like, he came out and Drive Shop was getting me set up with facial recognition. First time for that, right? For me. A little distrustful, honestly, to be myself.
I'll agree.
I looked and I was like, he said, I'm only going to give you one set of keys. I was like, why? Why, when you know I might get locked out of this car, you're only going to give me one set of keys? Okay, because that's my life. That kind of crap happens to me. You know, and I got to call and be like, look, I locked the keys in the car and it doesn't have the PIN code thing on the outside. So he goes, watch this. So we set it up with my fingerprint. And I said, that's cool. So let's preface this. I have a surface that we're doing this thing on. Sucker doesn't remember me when I change my hair. Okay. Your computer doesn't recognize you. And I'm like, enter your PIN code. And I'm like, oh, whatever. It's just different hair. I'm black. This is what happened. I changed my hair. Okay. And it does not remember me. And so I was like, the car is going to do the same thing. I know this is what's going to happen. So we do the face. So Noah gets a brilliant idea. He wants to get into the car, right? Because I have it parked in the driveway. He takes my phone, enlarges a picture of my face,
and puts it up there.
Yes. And it didn't work. I was like, yes, technology for the win, for the win. Okay,
what a brilliant idea, though.
I tried that on my friend's iPhone one time and it didn't work either. So
I was like, where does he get these ideas? He's 8. Like, what is this boat for my teenagers with him? He's
well,
like,
Mom wanted to be a secret agent. So
That's true. I wanted to be a spy. And do you know what they told me? They said, you've got to stop talking to so many people. Okay. Like, you just got to sit and observe. And I was like, how am I going to know?
This isn't going to work for me.
I don't talk to them. Okay. How am I going to know about them if I don't talk to them? Right. And then Dr. Watson was just like this.
Yeah, hard to argue that one.
Promptly went and tried out for something else after that. That's how I wound up at the congressman's office, actually, because the spy thing situation, I passed the test, but then the other part, they were like, yeah, no. Yeah, no, you're sweet, but no. I was like, And I literally ran because I had a station wagon that was probably as old as I am. That would turn off at the stop signs, right? Like it would literally die when you got to the stop sign. And so I decided I was just going to run from cheerleading practice to my internship. And that's how that went down. After my parents finally figured it out, they're like, why are you acting like you don't have family? I was like, I was just trying to take care of it myself. I can run. It's all good. And yeah. And that's how I ended up with my first car that I bought myself, which was a Daewoo back in the day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I had a Daewoo dealership right up the street from me. Yeah, I mean, obviously it didn't last very long, but
no, it didn't. And I totaled that car trying to avoid killing a squirrel. So, I mean, I know. Well, because the squirrel, but now the squirrel, I'm like, sorry.
Yeah.
You had to die. Chalk it to the game.
So with 22 models about over, what's been your kind of best of the year so far?
So far, this GV60. If we're going EVs, yeah. Okay, so it's on the same platform as the Ioniq 5 and the Kia EV6, right? All three of those are on the same platform, but it does something that those didn't do. So the Ioniq 5, you want something modern, fresh, kind of whimsical with the same kind of fun of the a Beetle, like a Volkswagen Beetle. The Ioniq 5 does that. It's flex space, all that cool stuff. The EV6 feels kind of sporty. This GV60 feels like it just is a part of living. I don't got to do anything. It thinks about what I want, and it's like, "What's up, friend? Love you, love you. You're here. I recognize your face. Let me move your seat to where you need to be. Oh, you're about to come into the car. Let's, you like it a little cooler. Let's turn the temperature down to there." It does that. It does that. And I was like, Now, range and stuff, still figuring out. Okay, we'll figure it out. Like, 'cause I got to drop my kids off tomorrow. So I'll know a little bit better when it does like that. Because I've had cars in the cold who didn't charge like they were supposed to. So I haven't had to charge this yet because it's came full, like 80%. That car, yeah, buddy. Okay, now let's get into gas. All prefaces, I am a truck girl. I like a truck. I grew up in truck country. I live in truck country. I live literally probably a mile and a half from the rodeo. My mom's family does a black rodeo circuit. I mean, truck is home to me. I used to ride in the truck, my papa's old truck, and he'd go build. He built houses, and so he would go work on roofs, and we would ride in his truck with him, and he would literally drive like 20 miles an hour. Rest of traffic be damned. I mean, he would be honking, and
he'd on my own time.
Just be teaching. He was unbothered, okay, unbothered by the rest of the stuff. But he would go and ensure what a truck means to me is probably what he taught me is that if you just do you and handle your shit, you can take care of the world. And that's what he did for us, that he provided that kind of stability backbone that does that. That's what a truck says to me. I loved the Titan. Absolutely adored it.
I could tell by the amount of time you spent in it at the off rodeo.
I am biased.
The truck rodeo.
I love that sucker. I love the King Ranch. I like the firefighter edition of the Ram. The Big Daddies, the TRXs, they're fun, but they're not for everyday life for me. I have trouble parking those things. And I like to be able to park places easy. But if you ask my boys, TRX is theirs. My daughter, TRX is the thing that she loves too. That's a sweet spot for them. I like creature comforts. I like my leather to be leather, and I like it to feel soft. I like it to those seats to have memory. I do not want to pull the seat up with the bar in front because I don't. Okay, I do not want to do that when my feet don't reach the pedals. Okay, because I'm short, and so like I look like Polly Poppet trying to pull herself up to the thing. Don't want to do that.
I'll be honest, that's one of the biggest things that if I could change, like I love the Bronco. Everybody knows I love the Bronco. Like that is the one thing that if I could have in the Bronco, I would take the power seats. But I also know I have marine grade vinyl for a reason. I have washout floors for a reason. Like I can't have I can't have both of those worlds because it doesn't make sense. Because if I'm gonna use one or the other, they're not going to work together well. But I'm right there with you. Like, and that's why when I got my BMW last spring, he was like, "Why do you want a BMW?" I was like, "I don't know. I just want a car for a minute." Like, because I wanted those creature comforts.
Those comforts.
Yeah, I wanted those seats to just do because we're about the same height, but I've got longer legs than he does. So I have to sit back farther. And
that's it. I remember the first time I got a TRX, right? And I had on a sundress. I tried to get in that thing. So, and my happy ass slid right out and onto the cement in my yard. And it was fast too because I was holding the OS bar. That's what we call it at the house. And I slid in and slid right back out. And I was like, So my youngest goes, you fell on the ground.
Oh,
And I was
no.
like, thanks, kid. Check on me first, then laugh.
Right.
Are you okay? And then laugh. That's what you do. Yeah. But then you get in like the Gladiator Trail Edition. I didn't think I would like it. I had preconceived ideas. I fell in love with that thing. Okay.
Really?
Like, yeah. Well, one, I'm not carrying a bunch of stuff. If I'm using a truck bed like a truck bed, I probably wouldn't like it. I'm using it to hold groceries. You know, my kid's wagon. I'm using it to hold maybe the tent when they can talk me into being outside for a long period of time. That's the kind of stuff I'm doing. I'm not using it to haul furniture or to haul lumber or those kind of things. There was this sheer delight of taking the roof off and then still having a place for their stuff that didn't have to be in the vehicle with them, you know, and to be able to pull the cover back. I like that. I was like,
Kelly fought me on buying a Gladiator because we're our years up with it, and she fought it, but it's such a practical vehicle for everything. Like you said, if you want to do truck things specifically, it's probably not the best option for you, but it's like having a Wrangler, but yet you have a truck bed that if you need to go to Home Depot and do things,
a little bit of extra, and I was like, So, and then it showed me, my sister, I just got back from a Honda drive, and she goes, I think I like that car I saw in your video. And I was like, cool, it'll be out in a couple months. That'll be fine. And she goes, no, really, I think I like it. And I was like, okay, why? What do you like about it? She was like, well, it can go a little off-road, but it's still city. But the air conditioner works, and it has power seats, and it has heating and cooling in the back. All the stuff she listed to me was life stuff. Yeah. And I was like, that's what she's missing. Okay, those cars that are over 5 years old, they're missing the life stuff. You know, tech has improved to where they want you to be a part of the experience. They want to know what you're thinking next so that they can help you get there.
Yeah.
So that's that. Oh, that's Barnwell Mountain. Yes, that was fun. Okay, so that trip was we went, and it was road trip, like America weekend. And my kids and I had just been gone for like almost a week. And I was like, we're going to staycation ourselves. And so we drove to Tyler, and we stayed there, and it was wonderful. Okay. But then we took this car on to Barnwell Mountain, which is this amazing little off-road kind of adventure preserve. The people are low-key. You know how sometimes you go to off-road places and you're like, look, I don't even like you as a human. Okay, stop.
Yep.
They were not like that. These people were like, come on down, friend. Come on down.
Dude, you found your people.
Yes. I was like, these are my people. And then you go and you can sit, eat your snack, do your thing. You are in BFE, Texas. Let's mistake it for nothing, okay? You are in BFE, Texas. Your cell phone will not work. Okay, it won't. AT&T, T-Mobile, Sprint, you're on your own. I mean, you're going to be out there in the wilderness, living your life. There are cabins that are across the street around this little lake thing. There is wildlife around the cabin, but you have a barbecue pit. There's air conditioning inside. And do you know how it feels when you get to escape for just a little while from regular every day? And that like peace and sanctuary you get? And you're like, oh, God, I'm the luckiest human on earth. That's what it feels like. And then you can take your car on a course. They've got like 8 different courses out there. You can park your RV. You can do whatever. Don't try to pull an RV with that. It's not going to tow it. It just doesn't have the capacity to do it. Because people do random stuff. And you're like, does that look like that can pull an RV?
Well, but you'd be surprised. I see many things that should not be towing things. Like people just have no idea anymore. They just
try it.
Yeah.
Do you think COVID did that to us?
No, I think people were dumb before that. I mean, if I'm being honest, like
I think we were undocumented dumb.
Yes.
Okay.
So I have a little bit to add to that, because I do think, to your point, I think COVID has made us a little bit dumber than we were before COVID, because I also think that I was actually talking to somebody at the ball field the other night. It's like parents are just crazy. Like parents are crazier than they were before COVID. Like the people you just don't like, things that they wouldn't have said before the pandemic.
Oh, I know.
Are coming out of people's mouths. Like I have never had so many. Yes, like I have never had so many confrontations at the ball field except since then. Like,
so I meet these
I
people.
think people lost their mind.
At my kid's school too. Yeah. And I'm like, I said, I'm going to give you a minute to backtrack on that.
Yeah.
Because you probably don't want me to respond to you the way you came at me.
Yeah.
You know, and I hear these things and I'm like, you probably don't want me to respond to you the way you came at me. My youngest still wears an oxygen tube sometimes. We were in Target and this lady tried to touch his tube. He said, no, please don't touch. And I'm thinking, bitch, please. Like, it's what I'm thinking. You know? I was like,
see what happens.
You know, I was like, he's got it. But what are you doing? Like, she goes, I just was curious. I don't care about you're curious. You know,
it's okay. Like who? Who's lost their ever loving mind?
I think people forgot how to behave in public.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
they
really
definitely
do too.
did. They definitely did that.
I really do too. And they don't know, like they were in their own little bubble for so long that they didn't have anybody checking them, that now they're out in the real world and everybody's afraid to check everybody else. Cause you're just like, what's going to come out of this person? Like if you do check them.
Yeah. If I know anything is that people need people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Agreed.
You need people in one way or another. And quarantine, I think, taught us that. I think that like I moved around a lot as a kid and I am very much a butterfly. You know, the wind will catch me and I'll be, but people need people and you need some kind of anchor. You need something that's going to hold you steady and center. And I think COVID reminded people that you need that because we here are living like lives that are so separate from family structures and families. And even if you don't have a family that you're using, like your community focus, people have got on their own lane so much that they forgot that they need people. Yeah. But then you get people getting in a grocery store acting crazy over strawberries. And I'm like,
right.
You know, and my kids tell me, not our business, Mom, not our business. But in my mind, I'm thinking going, just pick up the other damn strawberries. Okay. Like there's like a whole nother row of them. You don't even got to fight over this one pack. Just grab one of the others. Like, and it seems so obvious in my mind, you know, like you're like,
and you start to sit there and go, why is it obvious to me that it's not obvious to you? Like, what has happened?
And then I feel guilty for judging them. And I'm thinking, you're an idiot, is what I'm thinking in my mind. But then I'm like, oh, God, I became that human who sits and says, like, I used to babysit this kid when I was 11. He said, I am surrounded by idiots. And I was, and I don't even know what kind of human he turned out to be. But that was him as a kid. And and you're like, oh. But then you realize, like, you start to talk to them. You're like, oh, that's what happened to you. Okay. That's why you're that way. You're like, oh, well, yeah, it happened, but you still don't get to be an ass. So yeah, like but that's what it is about cars. So we went to park at valet at the mall, right? So I have two cars this week. I have an Armada and the GV60. Ooh. Oh, I know. It's sexy.
Yeah, the Armada's nice.
Oh, so I want to drive it.
Pulled up in the Armada. So I had to go get my perfume, right, which I adore. And I got it. And so I came up in the Armada first, but it was going to take them a while to come. So I was like, oh, we're going to go home. And I was going to swap cars and grab some lunch and then come back. Came back in the other one. And they didn't know what to do with the GV60, right? They were confused by it. They didn't know. The valet guys were just kind of like, completely different treatment. And I was like,
wow.
I was like, same human getting out of the car.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? What are you? I said, so my 16-year-old goes, Mom, I think we got car judged. And I was like, she goes, not judged, maybe car shamed. And I was like, I said, if they only knew,
Right.
if they only knew. Both of these great cars, but for two different people.
Mhm.
Okay. And that's what I say. Oh, there's a car for every person. There's probably multiple cars for every person. You just got to find the one that fits you right now.
Right.
Yep. But car shamed over like a car. And I said, Sonora, just flip your hair and let's keep going.
Right.
Well, it's funny you say that because growing up, we always had newer vehicles because my parents were, they worked for General Motors. So we leased vehicles. So every 3 years we got a new vehicle. And, it was about every year and a half because my parents rotated. But I remember, I'll be honest, I remember kind of being that judgy person when I would see other people that didn't have a newer vehicle all the time. And I'm like,
well, because you didn't know.
Why? Yeah, because I didn't know. I was like, why don't they have a new vehicle? And then like it turns around and you go, and then I meet people that are not car people, and you're like, why aren't you a car person? Like, why aren't you a car person? So it's like this whole world that we've grown up in.
I met a guy who I would probably say he might be a billionaire. I'm almost positive, real close to it. He's driving a 2008 Civic.
Mm-hmm.
He does not want to change. He doesn't want anything else. He knows his car. His car knows him. And as I listened to him talk about it, I realized that the car was telling his story.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's telling where he started, where he's going, and where he's been.
Mm-hmm.
And that sentimental value to him is worth more than every bit of new tech, lane keeping assist that he could ever have, which he could totally use.
Well, you got to save those billions somehow.
You could totally use it, but it was but the experience he has in his car is worth it for him.
Yeah.
And one day I'll get to tell those stories. I haven't got to tell them yet. I'll find an outlet to let me share those stories because
you have your own outlet.
Yeah,
I do. I could share those stories.
Yeah, you could.
Actually,
see,
you should.
You have the perfect little studio right there.
Yes, you do.
That's a great idea.
You should.
Hey, I have to admit, this picture, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I keep trying to jump in. You know how I know you're a Texan? Because in your video, you're wearing boots
and jeans. And I'm sure it wasn't a cool day.
No, it wasn't. Oh no, my battery's about to die. Yes.
Uh-oh.
Okay, keep going. I got to go get a battery.
Here, we'll pull you out.
We'll pull you out.
I challenge everybody, go over to Teia's.
You got to put the link in there.
I'm about to. YouTube channel. Let me pop this back up here, and it's just under her name there, and go check it out. She's clearly, I've seen the comments. She's a little Hellcat, man. Like, she's full of energy. She's probably gonna claw you at some point, and but
She'll just tell you how to
then
how to act.
Then mom's gonna to be okay. She won't have the normal link just yet.
There was one.
No, but it's not what you're thinking. It's my point.
No, but there's this.
All right, that'll work. But she doesn't have any subs just yet because she literally just got this going. And go show some love. We've like I said, they're talking to her. Like, she's
back.
Just like when we came into Tawa, man, just like so. Way more like we knew Tim and Jill a little bit, but I wasn't expecting like the full Texas welcome.
No, and I'll be honest, like we were literally petrified going to our first event because like we said that he's an introvert and I'm a little less of an introvert, but I'm still an introvert. And so like, but when we get together, we're one of two group. We're either completely like shut down together or one of us pulls the other one up. So we just have to make sure we're on the right page when we're traveling to make sure the other one gets the other one in check.
Oh, well, that's love. That's all that is.
Oh, well, we have lots of that.
That's all that is.
If it could only pay the bills.
Well, yeah.
I have to ask you, the Supra was a surprise at the last event, the last spring event. How did you like this car?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so it was my first supercar, not supercar experience. Does that make sense?
So the little sports car here. No, yeah, it's different. Definitely, I fell
It's
in love with the
fun.
car. Yeah,
It's like driving a Hot Wheels car. You get the drive, you get the rush, you get space, you get seating for two. Don't mistake it for anything else other than you and your date car. Don't
Or a
try to stick
weekend
kids
car.
anywhere else. There's no
Agreed.
space. You
Yeah.
take a weekender and you call it good. Or actually, surprising amount of groceries can fit in that trunk. Okay.
I don't know. My
They
backpack
actually can.
barely fit in that trunk.
Yeah, we just
Oh
had
my
his
gosh.
backpack that day.
I put $120 worth of groceries from Albertsons in the back of that thing.
Well, that's not
I was
much
like,
these
I
days.
was gonna say,
Tia.
what's that? A jar of peanut butter and bread now?
At least here,
it's getting
here in
expensive out
Tennessee.
there.
It was fair. Okay, but I loved it though. Because here's the thing. I looked at it for what it is. It's a sports car.
Oh yeah.
It's not pretending to be anything else. It's not saying haul your kids, haul your life, be flexible. It's not saying any of that. It's saying I am a sports car. I'm street legal. I'm gonna be sexy as hell, and I expect you to rise to the occasion. That's what the car says to me.
Oh, it's
Then
like
you
the
get
second
out
date. It's what it sounds like.
I knew you were gonna go
Exactly.
there. How
Yes.
did I know?
But you get to have a repeat at second date. Over
There you
and
go.
over
Okay.
and over
You
again.
left that one wide open.
Sorry, that was a softball. I had to swing for it. No,
But you
like,
got, I loved it.
You're not helping my case here because I'm trying to talk Kelly into let me buy one for a long-term test vehicle, and she's like, no, she didn't like it at all,
Why?
because it is a little cramped.
Okay, so I'm not a tiny little girl. Like I'm not little. And so of the vehicles we drove that day, that was the most uncomfortable one for me, being a bigger girl. Like I did not like it. I loved the Lexuses. The Lexuses both fit well.
So you like the IS 500 better?
We did the 350.
Yes, but the 350 I liked even better because of practicality for me for the 350.
It's got nice leather too inside.
It does. And I thought that could be a vehicle for us to have with a family within reason.
We have a Bronco. We don't need it. That's the family vehicle.
So if you had to pick a sports car that was available, what would you pick? So I won't call this is a sports car to me.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I'm not calling anything else. Yeah.
So I don't know. I do like this one on. I think the LC 500 is way overpriced. I mean, I know why it's overpriced because there's a certain market V8 engine in that car, and it's not. I don't know that I call it really a sports car. That's more of a Grand Tour. But I had a lot of fun in that car. I probably about got in trouble in that car driving around the.
He was probably the reason why we got talked to.
No, well, did you get my eyebrow? The one that goes.
No,
we didn't.
No, but we were in and out quick. We couldn't. We dodged the eyebrows real quick. No, I wished I could have taken this car on the track. I'll be honest though, I had zero interest in driving on the track. Just zero interest.
What's your favorite? So if track's not your favorite, what's like your sweet spot for car?
For like these events?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like driving cars. For my audience, I like to drive the vehicle like they would drive it. And I don't feel like track time, which is, trust me, is fun. But I don't think generally you're a very minute audience that really cares about tracking any of these cars. Now, they had the FC, whatever it was.
The Fuji, yeah.
Yeah. Now that's pure track car and it should be driven on the track. But, and I didn't even attempt to drive that one because the price tag and.
So, yeah, I live in Mesquite, but Dallas is right next door, which I spend a good deal amount playing. Mm-hmm. You see a disproportionate number of those cars out here. And so, like, even in my daughter's school parking lot, who,
really?
she got her grandma's HRV. The thing is 2019. It's not an old car. She's like, so mom. I was like, don't so mom me. Don't, whenever you start with so mom.
I know where you're going.
I know where you're going with this train, and I don't know. I got hair sprouting out. I don't know what you're doing with that. But you see like G-Wagons rolling up to school. Teslas at school. You see these dollar cars at school. And I was like, So
and it's not the
obviously,
parents just dropping off their kids. These are the kids driving these vehicles to school.
so the kids driving them. So I thought about it, but then I thought about the price of cars now. It's not actually that extravagant as far as a car is concerned price wise anymore.
Oh no,
Yeah.
not at all.
Isn't that crazy?
Because I mean, most of our trucks are right around 35, 37, you know. They say base is right around 20 something, but really once you get teched up appropriately, you're around 35, 37, a little just shy of 40.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's my Instagram.
It is your Instagram.
Yeah.
Kid.
Shut up.
Because it's there. You know, what else can you say? You're like, hey, see you.
Well, and it's funny you say that about vehicles, because we actually were talking about this a little bit when we were at Tawa, was that like my first car that I bought brand new for myself, like my first vehicle doesn't even compare. Like we can't even go there because it's not a fair comparison. It was an 85 Grand Am, and it was, you know, I think I bought it for $2,000 for my grandmother, and she had 36,000 miles on it, and it was 15 years old when I bought it. So like, you know, it doesn't compare to the first brand new vehicle that I bought myself, which was 2006 Chevy Cobalt.
No, what's a 6?
It was a 2006 Chevy Cobalt. I bought it brand new.
No, it was a 5 because it was right before we got married.
No, it was a 2006. I remember.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
We'll just fight here.
We will. Marriage counseling. But I bought it, and I thought, because I didn't build it myself, like, and have it personalized for me, but I searched for it, and I found it, in Michigan. Okay. And it was the like LT. It was everything without getting like into like $23,000 for a vehicle, but I paid $19,000 for that. And I remember going, how am I ever going to pay for a $19,000 car?
Like, this is so much money to spend.
Yeah.
That moment, yeah.
And I think I paid $265 a month for a car payment. And I went, how am I ever going to pay $265 a month for a car payment? And like, we can't even talk about the amount of car payments that we have sitting in our driveway. Like, it's just insane. But you know, like,
it's funny how life changes, because I remember the point when it shifted in my mind about car payments, and that either you're going to have a car payment or you're not, or you're, but some way, one way or another, you're going to be paying for a car. Either you're Ubering it or you're leasing it, or somehow you're going to be paying for a car. And it shifted in my mind. I'm like, oh my goodness, good gracious. This is, I like that car too. So ironically, that's the one my middle son wants, right? It goes, there's a mosquito, Lord love a duck. It goes from like 37 to 90 in the spread of that vehicle.
Wow.
And he goes, Mom, I want the tail lights to light up. In the truck bed, the lights in the truck bed to light up. Those don't come until you get to right around 70. I was like,
yeah.
I was like, oh, that's not about to happen. But you can earn the money for that. He goes, well, how much money do I need to earn to pay $70,000 for a car? And I was like, oh, a lot, my sweet boy. But maybe not a lot by the time he's old enough to do it. It might not be a lot anymore. Yeah. It's a lot right now, but it might not be a lot then.
Oh yeah, no. I'm every time we purchase a new vehicle, I'm always amazed at, because you always set this, here's my line, and then 5-8 years later we buy a new vehicle. I'm like, man, I jumped way over that line. Like my line keeps changing. I
wonder if being in the midst of things that are more expensive shifts your line. Your line stops being where it once was. Like,
well, I think there's no affordable cars anymore. Honestly, there's just,
take for instance the Kicks, the Nissan Kicks. It's affordable. It's got all kinds of cool stuff that you love in it. And if you get inside it, it doesn't feel cheap.
Oh no. It's what is it? Around 18, I think, something like that. Yeah.
It's less than 20. Yeah.
Yeah. And no, in the new Corolla Cross, I mean, there's some values out there, but you know, when I remember being able to buy, and this dates me a little bit, but I could get a Chevy Cavalier for $5,000, brand new.
Old man checking in.
No, but I remember when that car.
Those days will come back.
No, never. No, I think tech has killed the automotive world as far as affordable cars like that, because there's so many federal regulations for all that stuff now. You have to have cameras. You got to have this.
I would agree with
yeah,
that
but
too.
you know what? You kind of got to have them now.
Oh, of course.
You do. And I think that that's to his point why we won't regress back to some of those prices, because, you know, his dad has said, you know, if I were to, and he said it a couple of times now, if I were to ever get a new car, I would get a Toyota Camry, because blah, 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 and all this other stuff that he's talked about. And I'm thinking, there's so much tech in that thing that he wouldn't know what to do. Like, he would have to get an absolute base with just what's required.
Who was that with the trackpad still? That still uses the trackpad instead of the touchscreen?
Oh, Lexus does, I think.
Oh yeah, Lexus had it.
Yeah. And Mazda sometimes, and some of theirs doesn't have a touchscreen in it.
Yeah.
It's like just like they're catering to that audience that's still.
Yeah, the LC 500 had a trackpad.
Yeah.
You know, and I had to remind myself how to use it, and I was like, You know, or you reach up to touch the screen and it doesn't work. You're like, oh.
Yeah. Well, the
Supra didn't have it, or didn't have a touch screen either.
Did it?
No.
I know the LC 500 didn't, and it still had a CD player, which boggles my mind. $105,000 car with a CD. I mean, I guess at that price it should have the kitchen sink too. But
remember, it had 3 programmable seats. So remember, we talked about it. You have to share it with 2 other people to be able to afford the $105,000 car. So you have to have 3 seats.
You're right.
Just saying.
But it's funny, you know, because I see the kids with it. So I took the Mach-E down to Ennis for my story to test out going from Mesquite to Ennis and whether or not there were charging places right between it. Turns out there are 0. You go all the way to Ennis, and then in the Walmart parking lot, there's a bank of rapid chargers, right? So there were 2 cars there. There was us, and then there was a Rivian truck. And somebody let the kid get off the Rivian truck lot, not knowing how to charge it.
Oh.
And so Noah's in the back seat, and he's in the back seat of the Mach-E, and he goes, Mommy, he's doing it wrong. And I was like, you know how you're doing the arm thing?
Yeah.
Shh, shh. He goes, Mommy, he's doing it wrong. You got to go tell him. And I was like, what is he doing wrong? He's got the flap up. Okay. You know how you plug it in? There's a little flap that you pull down. That's the flap that was still up. My 8-year-old could tell that from the back seat. Mommy, he's doing it wrong. Somebody let him off the lot with that truck, not showing him what to do with it. So
that's every car lot now. Every car lot, they just get you out as fast as they can. The days are gone that I've noticed of them showing you features and this and that, and half the time
that's
I think
they just art.
Oh, it is.
It
definitely.
Because I think that we would have been able to roll off the lot in the Bronco without being shown anything when we picked ours up, had I not asked and gone,
sync the phone,
and all I asked was like, can you just tell me how we sync the phone? He's like, oh yeah, hold on a second, let me show you, and walked us through syncing the phone. But how many other people, like, I work for a tech company.
I wonder if they don't know.
Oh, I'm sure it's an I don't know, because there is such a turnover. But our guy, I know he knew because he was their Bronco specialist. But to your point, I think there's a lot of people at dealerships that really only know enough to be able to sell that vehicle to you.
That's what
and
we
not
got
enough
to
to
do.
give you the customer experience.
We got to be able to create a class.
Yeah.
Like a little happy hour class. Be like, look, okay, this is the Bronco. This is what it can do.
Yeah. For sure.
This is why it's a badass vehicle, okay? Yes, you might have things you want to mod. Yes, there might be things you want to tailor to you, but this is why it's awesome.
How was the Mama event? I think you went to that one, right?
I love it. So
I lived vicariously through your posts, by the way.
Oh, thank you. If you prefer less track time, there is track time, but there is a lot of time to be on road, on street with vehicles. I would say it's time for you to come on to the party.
Well,
we've applied. We're waiting.
I've got to get the whole letter thing from.
Am I your sponsor?
You could be. I mean, I
was
haven't
I your sponsor?
No, I think Tim was.
I haven't
think
filled
I
out mine, but I'll have you be my sponsor if you're cool with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you're gonna love it. There's so much street time. Elkhart Lake is beautiful, beautiful. But in addition to that, there's time. Okay, there's time to create content. There's time to be in it, and there's product experts that are there to answer the question. I think for every brand, Honda had somebody there. BMW, Mini, yes. Every brand present had a product specialist there.
Well, and that's one thing that we as sort of rookies going to these events, we're so used to having vehicles that we can just like, we sit in and we experience from a first person experience, that we have to do more about asking the questions about like what these vehicles are capable of, because we're just used to sitting in it and going, okay, because that's what our viewers kind of
by
look
far at. Carvey with Toyota has been the best for product specialists at y'all's events. Like they
are really good at that.
Yeah.
Those
and Toyota I will say that's something going to the Tawa events. Toyota, but they bring the house. There was somebody that was going to talk to you at some point. Who's the guy with the blonde haired dude with the tattoos? I can't remember his name.
He's always at him.
Kind of muscle dude.
Is it David?
Beard guy.
Is he beard?
Reddish hair.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. He's there. He's
always so friendly.
Okay, so I met him again at this HQ, right? Mm-hmm. And so I like track, but track kind of scares me just a little bit. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. I don't want to be on track with anybody else. Like me driving, but not me and everybody else on the planet driving, because people like to get on your bumper and I'm being like, look, friend, I just want to drive Daisy. Okay.
I don't want to speed
through it. Let me have my space. Fantastic for showing you what the car can do without being like
invasive. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or holier than thou about it. Like, why don't you know this already?
Right.
Like, look, I didn't get a degree in this. This is not.
There's 1,000 cars I have to know about, and maybe that one. Yeah.
Well, and I'll be honest, he taught us a lot about the beginning or the front end of the Toyota, like the foundation of it. And we were just like, wow, that's really cool to know that that's actually where it originates from. And it's not just like, hey, this has been what we've just done for years. And like to be able to know those cool little things is a huge, huge thing for us.
Me too. Doesn't it like add a layer of confidence to it?
Oh, for sure.
But competence to it. You're just like, okay, I can do this. Also, what I'm learning about the cars is that it's more about the people behind the car. Like, why did they make that car? Who did they make it for? And then you know why it's the way it is. Like, what car were we in where the headspace was real, real low?
Clearly it wasn't the Supra because you have a helmet on in the car.
Yeah, that was great. I love that car. I still love that car. It was one of the cars we were in, and I put my kids in the back seat, and my big kids' heads were right up at the ceiling. And I was thinking, going, this might not have been made for the U.S. market. Went back and found out, and it wasn't. It wasn't made for the U.S. market, which is why when you see the CX-50, that new Mazda, you'll hear them talk about it, that it's designed for the U.S. market. It's designed wider, taller, so that you aren't hitting your head, with more leg space in the front and adjustable seats so that you can have more leg space, because Americans demand that.
Well, I hope Toyota heeds that with their new Tacoma when we see that, because the current generation Tacoma is one of the worst sitting vehicles. And I'm 5'8". I'm no tall guy by any means. And I'm like, this isn't comfortable. And how that vehicle is like the most popular midsize truck still, I'll never know, because I think people just based on Toyota and then the off-road world of that truck think, oh, I got to have that. And then I think that once they get in it for about 6 months, they're like, man, why did I get in a 7-year car payment with this thing? Though I love the vehicle, but
I drove that new one.
Oh, the Sequoia.
Mama, and I'm not tall.
Right.
I'm 5'3" on a really, really good day. And it back seat is kind of tight, but the front has more adjustable space.
Mm-hmm.
Are you talking the Tundra or the Sequoia?
No, the Tacoma.
Oh, the Tacoma, the new Tacoma.
Mm-hmm. The new Tacoma, they had it out, and it was like in this highlighter orange color. And I was like,
all up Dave's alley. That's his favorite color.
That's a different spin on things. Kind of like this flower that's right here, the orange one that's in that picture.
Mm-hmm.
See the orange color? It's about that color, that bright, vibrant orange. And you're like, oh, wow. And
I love that. I love Toyota takes chances with colors, which is strange for generally the Japanese companies are very conservative with how they don't want to rock the boat. But Toyota with colors, everyone's like the lime green. I love the lime green that
he loves that 4Runner color.
Yeah, I love that. And I wish other brands would take notice. Even
Genesis is.
Are they?
Genesis, they're bringing out those bold colors too.
Oh, nice.
And I'm surprised because the Korean brands typically don't. They keep it in those navy gray, various forms of gray too. Not just like one gray, like 3 or 4 grays.
Like this the QX60. the just kind of it's a color.
It's like but it's supposed to be tasteful. It's a tasteful color.
Yeah. No, it is. It is. I'm not saying it's bad.
But this lime green color that this GV60 is, I don't think I've even posted pictures. I might have posted a picture of it. It's literally like highlighter green.
I like
bright.
That's all up Dave's alley right there.
And my Noah calls it the happy car. Like the color is happy for him. And actually it's this car, but in lime green.
Huh. I feel like you rehearsed this photo because it's too good.
So that photo, actually, I was with Connie Peterson. She's from Canada, and she's my girl. Okay, and so what you had missed is right before that I had been running from a guy who's over in the background of this picture, and she goes, "I'm going to catch your picture," and then I said, "Oh, I'm going to strut. I'm going to pretend like I'm a model." And then you pose. And so that was one of the shots. And it ended up being so much fun. I was like, girl, you caught me looking wonderful. Not with my eyebrow upper looking like, what are we doing today? And it reminded me of how much a moment, like a little moment. And that's what these experiences do for me. They remind me that there is literal magic in every moment if you let it happen.
Right. Well, this brand in particular, man, they got a powerhouse for PR now with Wendy Orthman over there. Like, I love that lady to death, man. I was sad when she left Nissan because I would get invited to things when she was over there. For some reason, I don't know, had a fondness for my old show, and so we would get the invites. And man, me and her closed out a bar one night.
That was also BK on the channel, at least.
Yeah. No, but
so I didn't get to go to anything
she's
fun.
So much fun on press tours and stuff with like I keep bugging her. I send her DMs every once in a while like, hey Wendy, I'll drive a Genesis too. Come on, let me have some fun with that car.
So what Genesis has done is they have said, hey, we're luxury, but we're here for you. We're accessible, we're unpretentious, we're fun, we're made for living. So come on to the party. That jives with me. That like hits where I live. When you say I'm luxury, but I got to stick up my behind, don't you just want to kick the stick? I mean, just kick it on the side. It'd be like,
well, and I'll be honest, the first time I sat in a Genesis, I didn't even know what it was because it was brand new on the market. It was probably 2013 or something.
Is that when we were looking at that Z?
Yeah, when we were looking at that 300Z.
Well, Genesis has always been they didn't know what to do with it kind of brand.
I didn't know what it was. And I sat in and I was like, this is pretty cool. I think we were in a Mazda dealership?
No, it was
Hyundai. That's what it was. Yeah. See, I don't even know much about Genesis. See, Genesis, you need to send us some Genesis so we know more. But yeah, like we sat there and I was like, what is this thing?
Well, they were trying to do almost high-end limos at one time. Like it's a straight. They finally found their footing of what they want to be.
Yeah.
But there for like 10 years, it was like, well, they're a car company this week, maybe next week. I don't know.
I feel like once they find, like, I feel like they've hit their groove. like Genesis
definitely.
has. I also feel like Mazda has kind of turned a corner.
Yes.
I mean, I've loved Mazda for years. I think they've been the sleeper winner for a while because they create cars that they're just sexy cars.
Mm-hmm.
They do a brilliant job with paint, but the cars
reds they use. That red they have on that is so pretty.
Oh my gosh, they need to make a nail polish. And I keep telling them, and they keep being like, and I'm like, no, really, okay, nail polish. That way I would have to put this
CX line nail polish.
bubble called. Do you watch? Okay, let Christmas come around, and they're like, look, you can get a mini set of nail polishes with your car.
Sold. You'd be buying a car you weren't even planning to, and you'll buy a car,
right?
Or you'll just buy the touch-up paint. Just buy the touch-up paint.
Yes, that blue. They've got a sapphire blue, and I'm like, oh, friend. But so what they did is they said, okay, look, we've been middle of the road, the higher end of middle of the road for years. Not quite low end, middle of the road, high end, but still in the middle range for years.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we want to play with the big dogs. Maybe we want to lure some of those luxury buyers who are annoyed with their vehicles, who are annoyed with not having the tech they want, who are annoyed with feeling like their brand's not evolving with them.
Right.
Yep.
That's who they're luring. Now, meanwhile, you got people like Kia who are like, come on, people. Come on. Let me take all your cash. Let me take all your cash. I mean, brand pivot case study. I was like, I remember when Kia was a budget vehicle.
Oh, yeah.
That's not a right word. That's not nice.
I remember when Hyundai was a budget
but I know what you're
vehicle,
talking about.
and then they sort of pushed into the little bit higher end market.
And they said,
yeah, because I remember I grew up in a GM household, and I was like 15, 16, something like that. And I told my dad, I was like, hey, my first brand new vehicle might be a Kia because I can get one for $8,000 with a 10-year warranty on it. And he was like, you are not putting that thing in my driveway. But like hindsight, I understand what he was saying because at the time it was unproven for one. It wasn't built here. There was nothing about it that made sense to him, but they were so affordable. So affordable.
Yes. I remember when it came out. I remember when it came out, the Telluride, and I got it for the first time. And it was the weekend of my grandfather's funeral. So we had to load up us, my kids, my parents, my brother-in-law, and his son and my sister into that car. And I looked in it, and I hadn't had time because they dropped it off the morning before we left to go. And you know how you're in your emotions for those days. Mm-hmm. And so I looked at it and I was like, oh. And I went back and looked at the badging again, make sure it was Kia, right? And I looked at it and I was like, interesting. And I looked at it again, and my sister came out and she goes, what's that? And I was like, Telluride. I said, they're gonna sell gangbusters on this thing. Because you could tell they took all the stuff that people love about luxury SUVs, chopped the price point down by a third, and said, hey, we're going to give you 10,000 extra miles on your warranty. We're going to do your service.
Super Bowl ad they had was brilliant too, of just showing it just sort of ripping up grass. Like nobody's in reality taking those vehicles off-road, but the way they showed it, like doing off-road things, and it was very brilliant. And I know a lot of people that were like, oh, I gotta go look at that. The only thing Kia they needed was a logo, and I'm still not sold on their new logo, but it is much better.
My daughter came out and said, Mommy, that's the 9-inch nails, but they spelled it wrong.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was like, no, they did spell it wrong. That's a KIA. That's what that says. She's like, well, it looks like that. Oh, there's a mosquito. I am not going to be that person. But if that mosquito gets close here, I'm so killing it.
We've had a fruit fly up here for a couple of weeks. I've been every once in a while you'll see me just.
So I don't know what's going on. It's hotter than Hades here. Okay, like literally, and I can say that because I used to work the Hotter Than Hell 100 bike race, right? It has been like that kind of hot where it's just too hot to wear clothes. And you're like,
oh yeah.
You're like, if decency wouldn't prevent me from walking around like that. But, I'm going to try to be decent, at least for now.
Well, that's when Teia starts her OnlyFans. So.
Yes. And they'd be like, is there country music to that? And I'd be like,
there can
be.
be.
Like it anyway. You will like it anyway. Turn the sound down. Turn the sound down. You'll be fine. Okay.
Well, we've kept you for 2 hours. And,
oh my gosh.
I feel like we're only scratching the surface. So I definitely want to get you back on the show down the road. Get your opinions on a few of the 23s that are coming up, because that's going to be pretty exciting. Are you gonna try to do SEMA this year or anything fun like that?
My plan is to do SEMA. My plan is I'm going to do Chicago Auto Show. I'm going to host a little mini happy hour. So if you come up, you're more than welcome to come to my party.
I kicked myself in the ass for not doing Chicago last year, but because Chicago was, in that we're in that weird, we might be doing it, we might not do it. You've got to be
COVID, might not be.
Yeah. Well, the thing for Chicago that turned us off was, you got to schedule interviews. And then I know a bunch of people went up there and just did like normal auto shows. And I was like, that's what was keeping me. I didn't want to have to schedule all this stuff.
So if I've learned anything is, you know what, get your list in your mind. If you get your body there, you can open to whatever opportunity is present while you're there.
Right.
But just get your body there. And then you can figure whatever else out once you get your body there. Also, if you've got people or if there's other people you can be like, hey, look, we've been on the internet together for 5 years now. And we always chat each other, be like, hey, you want to do something together, and then figure it out that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hopefully
it will be my first SEMA, though. This will be my first SEMA.
Last year was ours. And
be prepared for
at
least
it awesome?
2 days. You have to do 2 days of walking. Like, you can't plan for one. It's very tough.
Did you plan for a day on the front end or the back end?
We did one day.
So how I like to do these things, I like to fly in, do the event, and leave. I'm pretty business with this stuff.
So remember that saying you said, I can't remember exactly because I'll quote it incorrectly, but you said something about like find joy in all the moments or something along the lines of that. He doesn't. He legit is like, how late can we get there the night before? How early can we leave the next day?
But don't you want to
just do our business?
Thank you. Want to eat?
Well,
yes.
So we had fun in Vegas, but Vegas doesn't do anything for me. Like I used to like to gamble and stuff, and now I guess the older I get, the more I want to hold on to my money.
But knowing more people at these places now
helps.
Changes things.
Yeah,
for him.
I like to get in, around 3 the day before, so I can check in, and then have a minute to breathe before whatever thing is happening that night of. And also so I can get a lay of the land, because I find that if you just wander around where the people in your space are, you hear of other stuff that's happening while you're there.
That's a good point.
Sometimes I invite myself. Other times they invite me. It really depends. Depends on the day. But for the most part, you get to do that. But I find that if I'm exhausted from traveling coming in, make a bitch face is hard to control.
Yes.
Because it's my eyebrows. They give me away. So, and be like, it sucks to be you. And that's kind of, I'm like, obviously it's a me problem, not you problem, me problem. I need to take a nap.
Right.
But then I need to get better about having time on the back end where I walked for 2 days. Like my watch told me the last show I went to, I walked 21,000 steps that day. And I was like,
yeah,
my body thinks I'm training for a marathon.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I think we did 25,000 steps
at SEMA.
That one day that we were there. But we did it all in one day because we didn't know what we were doing, to be honest with you.
So
like we walked too much.
What do I need to know?
So you need to plan.
It's hard. That's a hard one to plan.
So like there's like north, south, east, and west halls. So you really kind of want to look at the schedule and say, where could I try to keep everything in these 2 halls together on this day and these 2 halls together on this day, if you can. And then also use the Tesla shuttle.
Yes.
Ooh.
It goes through the tunnel under the building. It's really cool.
Yeah, like
Is it
had
a
we found that earlier in the
family-friendly
day,
event, or is it more of a me come do my thing and leave kind of event?
I would say it's probably more of a you come do your thing and then leave kind of event, unless you're wanting to do footage with the kids, because it's legit like you're moving from one booth to another, talking to people about things, and like you're trying to pack as much as you can into a short period of time.
Well, and then we covered the Ford. Of course, Ford won't be there this year, but we covered a Ford Jay Leno thing, and then Toyota 5 minutes later was doing something, and you're running like trying to.
Yeah, we legit ran from the Ford booth to the Toyota booth.
Yeah, and the problem is there's so many people that do not need to be in there. Yeah, and I mean,
so
there's
that's what I was about to ask, because I did a story on modifying a Maverick, and almost all the people that I interviewed for that story were showing their cars at SEMA. So there is a
disclosure
Is it
agreement.
an auto show? Is it a car show?
Well, no, it's aftermarket. All pretty much aftermarket, and I know Volkswagen's going to show some concept stuff. I think Toyota said they were going to. Or did they say they were scaling back? I can't remember. But
GM was scaling back.
Yeah,
and Ford was out.
Yeah, well, Ford said they'll have enough stuff. Well, Ford will have stuff there. It's just not in.
They're not having the massive booth like they did.
Yeah, Volkswagen's taking their booth over. But it's an experience. I say do it once, but we're going for 2 days this year just because.
Yeah, we can't do it in one.
You need a minute to breathe.
Do they split the press stuff between 2 days, or do they do it all?
You can schedule your own interviews for a lot of that stuff too.
Yeah.
So a lot of the manufacturers or aftermarket companies you're wanting to talk with, they're great with calendars. They'll set you up with their calendar and schedule you that way.
Okay.
But no, it's an experience in itself. How long that poor event hangs on, who knows? I hate to say that because it's so big, but with Ford and GM and everybody kind of pulling out of it, like because you go to Toyota
instead.
Well,
if they pull out of those, what do you think they're going to do?
Well, the internet's killing this stuff for one. Those booths are. I think the smallest booth was $20,000.
They're stupid expensive.
And that was for a tiny booth for a small manufacturer.
Yeah, for like a small mom and pop manufacturer.
That's not play change.
No, especially for those little companies.
Plus, you have to think about, besides the booth, you're talking about how do they outfit the booth? How do they pay for people to be there and be at the booth, and then feed them and everything else that goes along with it? Like that $20K is not just $20K. All of a sudden, it's $100,000.
Yeah,
for that small, tiny little spot. So it's not financially feasible for a lot of people.
But
what I love about auto shows is you get to see stuff. You get to touch it. You know, like you actually get to touch it in a way that you wouldn't get to somewhere else. So I don't know how, if they stop doing auto shows, they're going to supplement that.
Well, I mean, Toyota HQ in your neck of the woods, they're doing everything in house now, which they have a beautiful campus.
It's
works.
Gorgeous.
It works for it. And I wish Nissan here locally, they don't have the room that Toyota has, but I wish they would just start doing in-house stuff. And
do they have, is it a pretty campus? And it's in Nashville, right?
Just right outside of Nashville.
It's in Franklin, just outside of Nashville. It's about 30 miles from us or so.
Yeah.
Is it someplace you can just go visit, or do you have to make an appointment?
You can see the outside of the building, but I don't know that they actually let you in because it's corporate.
Yeah, well, you can get in the bottom floor, but
that's about it.
Yeah. But it's not. I mean, if you've seen Ford's campus and stuff, it does not compare to that. And even Toyota's campus, it does not compare to that.
No, it's just a building with some grass around it.
Yeah, and you see the weird
campus are wonderful. They've got, like, for lack of a better word, a Zen garden in the middle.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I've got
like a creek situation going down in the middle.
Oh, that's very cool.
I was like, I could stay here and come sit right here and do my work.
Yeah.
Somehow there were no mosquitoes by the creek.
Well, they
had their Toyota magic around it.
They're exporting those out.
They did. They said, "Blow away, friend, blow away."
Here comes the butterfly. You got to leave.
Right.
Leave.
Well, we're definitely doing Chicago this year. I'm not missing out on Chicago this year. The Detroit Auto Show, I'm like, I don't know what they're doing with that one.
So that's on my list. I'm debating about Detroit because I missed the Concours this year, but I wanted to do it because I've never done one of those before. And if I had to pick between the Auto Show or the Concours, I was thinking maybe the Concord because it wasn't set up at the same. Like I'm not smashing them back to back.
Yeah.
Well, I think the Detroit's killing it with the whole weird outside. Like I don't know what they're doing. It's especially because they wanted to change right when COVID happened. The way they wanted to do those shows, and it's just kind of strange. But I know Chicago. I'm really thinking about flying out to LA this year.
LA was wonderful. I loved that. That was my first. This year's was my first LA show, and they had what I didn't experience somewhere else was they had beautiful. They had lots of new manufacturers, not just the legacy ones, and that was new for me. They had them, and they had them there for you to see and talk to them. So like VinFast and those groups. Those ones that I only seen online. I was like, interesting.
Canoe is on my bucket list to talk to.
Oh my gosh.
I want to talk to
Canoe. Here. They're on my list too. So if I am they probably think I'm a stalker person.
No, I do a video on Canoe, and for some reason, I mean, it'll get a few thousand views, which isn't bad considering nobody really knows who they are. But I love that goofy little truck they're trying to. Yeah. Yeah, it's a.
Does it remind you of like a Lego truck? But
kinda.
You can just.
Yeah. But I hate some of those vehicle companies. I think are the only idea behind them was to get it going so somebody buys you out. I just think it's a long-term play of
I've been
make money.
Dipping my ankle in the VC space, and literally that's what I hear a lot of. And I'm like, so you don't love it? Is that what you're telling me? You don't love it?
Yeah.
And they're like,
I think
well,
that's
it's
Rivian.
not about that.
I think Rivian was hoping that they didn't get as far as they've gotten to building vehicles, honestly. I think when Ford invested into them and Amazon, they thought, okay, they're going to buy us out. Cool. We created something, and, because really all those companies have is just the tech of it now. There's not anybody can stamp a vehicle. It's making that EV work properly. So.
Yeah, but you also got to be able to service a damn thing. After you can't just build it.
We talked about that last night on Bronco Talk Live. We talked about the servicing piece is that for Rivian, you have to either go to Chicago or Orlando to get it serviced. What if it breaks down in Nashville or it breaks down in Alabama?
That after the sale part is just as important as being able to make the car. And I almost feel like it's disrespectful is not the right word, but it's real close. To keep making stuff that you can't service. It's basically like giving a kid a firecracker
and saying you can't light it.
Firecracker, no, not saying you can't light it. Lighting it and saying don't burn your hand.
Right.
Letting them hold it until it gets all the way down and being like, don't burn your hand. It's going to be fine. Just hold on to it. It's going to be fine. Right. And then the kid knows that, oh shit, this is getting real. Fire's real close to my hand. Then the fire gets there and their hand is burned and they're like, help me. And then the guy who gave them the firework is like, sorry, friend, that's on you. It's messy.
Yeah. It is. It's messy.
Well, let's end on that because we could just keep going and going. Guys, go over to Teia's Instagram. I'll pull it up here one more time so everybody can see it. Definitely, you can get a hold of her that way if you have any questions because Teia is a ball of energy, and as many have commented, I've seen.
I need to read the comments.
No, don't never read the comments. But
they said that you were a pleasant surprise tonight. They were super excited that you joined.
Right.
So.
And the big one, because I know you're just kicking off your YouTube channel. Let me make sure I pull that back up here because I want to show that. And definitely go to her YouTube channel and check it out.
I'm learning how to YouTube. Okay. Because there's so much more about the car than just its stats.
Yes.
I want to know the people behind it. I want to know why they said it, why they did it, why they love it, where they are going with it, and what's the point?
But go over there, check her channel out. You're up to 20 subs now, so
yay!
I think you had 16.
Started at 15 before.
I think I had 15. Okay, and I was been really proud of those 15.
But understand, everybody, that you're new to the space, you're growing into it, and just go along for the ride, man. Pushing that sub button doesn't cost anybody anything, and you wouldn't believe what that does for content creators when you just do that. So if you'll just do that for, and
thank you.
Positive wins over negative. So just remember, be positive, and we'll go from there. So Kelly, anything final?
No, this is honestly, if you guys, even if the guys said that they didn't like it in the chat, this has been what I needed today. So I appreciate it.
She was pretty down coming into this.
And it wasn't coming in talking to you. It's just been, sometimes you get those down swings in life, and this was good for sure.
So whether it be two-wheel drive, sorry, Tia.
Some days be like that.
Yeah,
that's right. So whether it be two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, it does not matter what you drive. You better go sub to her channel, or she's liable to find you and beat you up.
And she'd be like, "Come on, child."
That's right. That's right. So till next time, everybody. Peace.
See ya.